Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
Welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. But for our radio audience tuning in at WYAD 94.1 FM and WYADonline.com, we're glad that you all can be with us. Also, those tuning in through iHeartRadio and Amazon Music Podcasts, glad you all could be with us as well. Today, we're going to give you guys news you can use, and it's having to deal with the opioid crisis. According to the CDC, current provisional data, more than 105,000 drug overdose deaths have occurred, the largest number ever recorded in a 12-month period, and nearly 8 in 10 of these deaths are caused by opioids. Joining us today is a longtime advocate in the fight against the opioid crisis, that being former Congresswoman Mary Bono. She's going to not only share some important information for you guys, but let you know how you can be a part of an important campaign as well. Mary, thank you again for the time, and I do appreciate it.
Thanks, Cyrus. Appreciate you having me on.
This is an important topic for us. I'm here in the South on the radio side here in Mississippi, and it's one of those things that has definitely been a topic of conversation. Mary, what does the public need to understand when it's to the evolving opioid landscape and what's taking place right now when it's taking so many lives?
Well, thank you for the question. It's important for the public to realize that the drug supply right now is very dangerous. So what was happening 10 or 12 years ago was way different than what we're seeing now. Now we're seeing illicit pills that are pressed to look just like the real deal, and they're laced with fentanyl. So kids are getting their hands on these pills that think that they're legitimate when in fact they're not. So fentanyl is definitely what is driving this increase in overdose deaths, and it's something that people need to be very aware of. Secondly, people need to realize that beginning tomorrow, you can buy naloxone in the version of Narcan nasal spray. You can buy that over the counter, whether it's in your drugstore, your grocery store, your online pharmacy. You can pick up some Narcan and actually save a life if you are witnessing an opioid overdose.
And that's important information. I'm so glad that you shared that, because I think one of the things that people want to know is what can they do. So let's dive more into that. What can people do to take that first step then, Mary, towards awareness but also preparedness? And talk to us more about why this is such a game changer.
Well, it is a game changer to have Narcan over the counter. We can all pick it up. We can recognize that we can be that first responder in the event of an opioid emergency. And just to point out the signs of an opioid overdose, if you see somebody who's unresponsive, who has slow or absent breathing, is it slow heartbeat, or blue nails, lips, or cold and clammy skin, it's most likely an opioid overdose. CPR won't work in that instance, but Narcan will. So I think it's important for people to recognize they can help and be prepared in the event of an opioid emergency. But secondly, we need to talk to our loved ones. Look, awareness is key here. Prevention is key. Kids as young as 12. I know stories of families who've had a kid go on a social media platform and order a pill and have it delivered, and it's been laced with fentanyl. So we need to arm our loved ones with the facts that these are not harmless or typical prescription pills. They are illicit counterfeit pills that are laced with fentanyl. So it's the both here. It's prevention, and it's also being able to respond in the event of an emergency.
Mary, I mentioned in my introduction that you have been a longtime advocate in the fight against the opioid crisis. Why has this been something that's been so important to you?
Well, that's a great question, and I am one of the folks whose family has been severely impacted by this. Over a decade ago, I had a family member, one of my children was finding prescription pills in his high school and began dabbling in them. So we addressed that and then spoke about it publicly. And after that, we sort of became beacons for parents and families around the country who were going through something similar. But look, that's a decade ago. Back when it was the legitimate drug supply that was being diverted to kids using it for experimentation or whatever. But now, again, it is these illicit pills that are coming up over the border, and they are laced with fentanyl. It's important to realize one of these pills can kill, and that is what we're seeing. So some innocent, person is picking up a pill or being handed a pill, and they think it's the real deal, and it's laced with fentanyl. So, I became involved a long time ago because I realized these are preventable deaths. If we stepped in, if we're armed with tools like naloxone or Narcan, and we educate people about the dangers, we can prevent a large number of these deaths from happening in the first place.
Such a great point, and that's why it's so important that we're having this conversation today. Mary, so talk to us about the Greatest Gift campaign. What is the goal of it, and how can our audience be involved in it?
Well, the Greatest Gift campaign is something that our nonprofit Mothers Against Prescription Drug Abuse came up with to try to encourage parents to have a healthy conversation with their children about the dangers of drug use and certainly the dangers of the illicit drug supply. All too often right now, I work with all of these families who've lost somebody, and they will say to me they didn't know it would happen to them. They thought they were immune from it, that this is a problem that happened elsewhere, other communities, other families. And then they realize it hit their family hard. So we're trying to get to these parents to recognize you can't stick your head in the sand here. You need to talk to your loved ones about the dangers of drugs. So on our website, which is MAPTA.net, we have a whole page that is about how to talk to your kids about drugs and drug use. We also are asking parents to take a pledge, or actually siblings, anybody, talk to your loved ones about the dangers of drugs. So if you do that, there's a pledge you can take. It's sort of the honor system. We'll give you an electronic certificate thanking you for taking this pledge. But look, it's important to recognize there's a stigma that surrounds this disease and this issue, and people don't want to admit it or to bring it out from the shadows. And we have to. We have to talk about this as happening everywhere. Substance use disorders happening, and unfortunately, fentanyl overdose deaths are happening. Again, we're asking folks to talk to their loved ones and then to arm themselves with Narcan, just in case they do happen to witness an opioid overdose emergency, whether that's in their family or just a community member or somebody, it's out there, who knows where. So we think that these two things combined can help make a difference.
Well, Mary, this is such valuable information and so timely. Of course, we've been seeing in the news about people of all ages who have definitely fallen victim of this, and that's why I'm so glad we have you here to be able to talk to us about it. Again, everyone, former Congresswoman Mary Bono has been our guest, talking to you guys about the importance of not only, of course, being active, but also prepared. The website that you mentioned, MAPTA.net, we're going to make sure we link that up for you guys on our Facebook page, as well as those tuning in on the podcast for you guys as well. Mary, thank you again for the time. Really do appreciate it, and I hope you'll come back again.
Thank you, Cyrus. I'll be back anytime you want me back. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, glad to do it. Thank you for that. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live, again, part of our News You Can Use segment here at WYAD. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Let us go make today amazing. Take care.